But over City, with a derby defeat in between, it must be said as well, does leave the Wanderers within striking distance of the top six, and they will view today's match as a must-win. And that's also largely because Brisbane have had such an awful start, a heavy loss to Melbourne City last week, compounding their position as the A-League's bottom club. If they fail to win here this evening, it will be 10 matches since their last success, which ironically enough came here when goals from Tommy Aldred and Henry Hoare gave them a 2-1 success 8 months ago. They do have a decent record though at this venue. They've lost just once in 7 trips, and all up Brisbane are unbeaten in the last 8 in all competitions against the Wanderers, 3 of those games in the Australia Cup. And here's the team news. Not much of it for the Wanderers. They're unchanged from the 11 that started against Melbourne City 2 weeks ago now. Jong Tae-wook remains on the sidelines with injury, so Anthony Pantazopoulos continues alongside Alex Bonatic in the heart of defence. Nicholas Milanovic has enjoyed his break, winning both the A-League and PFA Player of the Month awards on the back of 5 goals in his first 6 matches. Marcus Antonsson has scored off the bench in each of his last 2, a bench that once again includes the marquee man, Juan Mata. Now all change for Brisbane, 5 in total from the home loss to Melbourne City. Scott Neville has remained in Brisbane to aid his continuing recovery from long-term injury. Rafael Struijk is on international duty with Indonesia. Jack Hingert and Florent Berenguer are both benched. Keegan Jelicic not part of the squad. He apparently picked up a knock in training. In come Harry van der Sarg, Walid Shaw, Ben Halloran, Adam Zimmerino for his starting Raw debut, and there's an A-League debut for 17-year-old central defender Lucas Harrington, whose brother Diesel is at the Mariners. Quinn McNichols stands by for his first action of the season off the bench. It's been a fairly warm day in New South Wales, so t-shirt weather for the coaching staff. Alan Stadget with his back to us with the cap on, looking for back-to-back wins for the first time with the Wanderers here this evening. And back-to-back wins as an A-League men's coach, would you believe, for the first time since 2021 and his days with the Central Coast Mariners. Any sort of a win would do for Ruben Zatkovic. He says his team need to embrace their role as underdogs, and also says it will take 3 transfer windows to get Raw where he wants them. Will he get that much time if the victories don't start arriving? Match referee this evening is Daniel Elder, assisted by Owen Goldrick and Andre Giev. Declan Woods the 4th official, and Alex King is in VAR. Pitch looking in great condition at Combank Stadium. It's not the biggest crowd we've ever seen to watch the red and black, but those that are here will make plenty of noise. Brandon Borrello up against the club with whom, of course, he started his A-League career well over a decade ago now. 75 games and 13 goals in the orange of Brisbane. And a win tonight for Western Sydney Wanderers would just edge them into the top 6 on goal difference and goals scored ahead of Wellington Phoenix. Talking of goals scored, there is Nicholas Milanovic. He's actually now level with Costa Barbarossa, who scored for Wellington Phoenix in their defeat to Macarthur today. So they're going head to head, and there is the debutante, Lucas Harrington, just 17 years of age. He's been away with the young Socceroos and their Panda Cup tournament in China recently. Big breath in ahead of his debut. He knows this is a different sort of level. So Brisbane Raw in their change strip getting us underway. It's 10th versus 13th. Not exactly where these two clubs believe where they deserve to be. Whose need is the greater tonight, Andy Harper?
Simon, what a great question. I mean, the league is so tight and on a weekly basis so topsy-turvy. Every game presents a matchup where both teams need to win. But the greater need is with the home team. More is expected of them tonight. And quite frankly, they have to start building a winning record here in Parramatta.
There's the first little flashpoints of the evening. Harry van der Sarg and Bojidar Kraev coming together, and Harry van der Sarg had a bit to say as he jogged away.
As he should.
To the Bulgarian. So an early chance here for Brisbane to throw the likes of Lucas Harrington forward and offer some aerial threat from either Jay O'Shea or Adam Zimmerino's delivery. What a boost an early goal would be for the Raw. They went behind after 52 seconds, you might remember, last week against Melbourne City. Let's see if they can get an early goal here. Zimmerino leaves it. O'Shea's delivery. And it pops. Zavala leaves it. Reset through Van der Sarg. O'Shea back to Harry van der Sarg, but it was blocked by Bojidar Kraev, and Brandon Borrello has gone for an attempt inside his own half of the field. Well, that really would have been a back page headline, but Macklin Freak just about had enough time to get back.
Yeah, did it quite comfortably in the end, carrying the ball over his shoulder, or catching the ball over his shoulder. Nice comfortable work. It's ridiculous distance out, but alert to the opportunity, which is the positive thing for Borrello. He had a great opportunity to pass the ball to Kraev as well, who would have been running into an open goal. I mean, you can understand the emotion around wanting to start well, but if we get a chance to look at that again, a very makeable pass to Kraev, who would have been in on virtually an empty goal.
Yep. And Bojidar Kraev set off at full tilt, didn't he? He was literally busting a gut to get into a good position, but not found by Borrello. This is Klur. Now Milanovic. Such great form, of course, at the moment. Cross favouring Jay O'Shea and Brisbane. And it's Louis Zavala to carry the ball forward. The Brisbane Raw team sheet had Louis Zavala playing as the number 10 today. Not quite sure that's how it's going to work out for Brisbane. Two good solid touches for Lucas Harrington. Not so good off the boot of Tommy Waddingham. Good lively start by both teams. Pantazopoulos punching the ball through the first defensive line of Brisbane and finding Kraev, but well robbed by Shaw. Halloran straight at Clisby, who then gives the ball away. All very fast and frantic in these opening moments. Two teams eager to make a statement, which, to be fair to Western Sydney Wanderers, they did last time out. Of course, they've had the bye, Andy, so 2 weeks absence from the A-League.
Oh, look at Kraev at halfway. He would have had a one-on-one with Burke Gilroy, so not that straightforward. Still probably on percentage a better option. It was a massive rush of blood from Brandon Borrello. Exciting early moments of the game. And I'd venture to say, outside of goalkeepers scoring goals from their own box, I mean, that would have set a world record. Distance out from goal in general play. It's about where that ball has just been sent now from Shikluna.
Macklin Freak spared the embarrassment of being the goalkeeper to be on the wrong end of that statistic. What Macklin Freak and Brisbane would dearly love tonight, as well as 3 points, of course, is a clean sheet. They're yet to keep one this season. Wanderers got their first at Amy Park last time out. It was a real shank off the boot of Shikluna. And this is Zimmerino. Halloran. Gabriel Clerk sticking tight to his man. Brisbane come away with the ball. Here's Jay O'Shea, and it just struck Pantazopoulos. Van der Sarg to drive it. Good pressure from the Raw. Zabala deflected, and Lawrence Thomas with a safe pair of hands.
There was good pressure, Simon, from the Raw. Lawrence Thomas comfortable in the end, but there's The Wanderers' defence was stretched and had to be, and were put on notice. They had to be alert. And with a full head of intent, banging away at the Wanderers' goal, all very comfortable for Lawrence Thomas ultimately.
Well, scoring goals has not necessarily been a problem for the Wanderers this season, but keeping them out at the other end certainly has been. 13-4, 12 against. As confirmed by the ever-present flag. The end away to our left, populated by the RBB. A wrestling match going on between Halloran and Clerk. And the whistle goes in favour of Western Sydney Wanderers. Bonatig assessing his options and floating it out towards Clisby. Kraev. And that's adjudged as a foul by Harrington. Zatkovic full of praise for Lucas Harrington, saying he's got the highest ceiling of any young Australian defender.
Just overstepped the mark there. Let's hope for his sake his indiscretion doesn't put his team under serious pressure here as the Wanderers line up for this free kick.
For which Bonatig and Pantazopoulos have taken their places in the midst of that little group of players. It's going to be Josh Brillante with the in-swinger, and it flicked off the head of Harrington first. Must have been a Wanderers player second. I must admit, I thought that was a corner, but this will tell us more.
Yeah, it's just come off at the back cry of, I think.
Yeah.
Not particularly well defended, that from Brisbane. Fortunately, and a little all over the place. But no damage done.
Prior to this weekend, only Perth Glory had conceded more goals than Macklin Freak in the raw goal. Glory in action, of course, a little bit later on tonight at home to the Newcastle Jets. We've got one game tomorrow with the leaders Auckland going to Melbourne City. Bert Gilroy. Good foraging by Zimmerino. Only played 20 minutes so far this season prior to tonight. Adam Zimmerino. That's a trip. And could even be a yellow card, yeah. Bert Gilroy, the first name into the notebook.
Lovely work from Sapsford. Brisbane's attack broke down. Depending on which game you watch, Simon, no question about the free kick, but there's been other games this weekend with clear challenges like that. This stage of the game, not awarded a yellow card.
You comfortable with that one being so?
Yeah, I am.
Yep.
I'm less comfortable with other yellow cards not being given for teams in attacking situations. The standard set there by Daniel Elder should be the one replicated around the league, in my opinion.
So another set piece for the Wanderers, different side of the field, same taker, Brillante, looking for Milanovic at the back post, and it might just sneak in. It is there now. Brandon Borrello against his former club. Brisbane could not deal with that. Milanovic with the initial header. There was a bit of a scramble, and Brandon Borrello made it his and gives the Wanderers the lead.
Well, his first contribution in this game was to hammer one from about 70 metres to no avail. And on the Harvey Norman replay, as Brisbane can't clear their lines, he hammers this one from 4 yards to real effect. It's a curling, dipping free kick to the back post. Really difficult thereafter for Brisbane to adequately deal with the danger. Macklin Freak turns and chases Burke Gilroy off the line. And the first to react was Brandon Borrello to thump the ball home and give the Wanderers the lead.
That's his third goal of the season. And always that's a little bit more special when it's against your former club. And Brisbane have it all to do again. When you keep falling behind, Andy, particularly to early goals, it can be a real confidence killer for players.
Well, you've got to, it does test you early on a bad run like this. And the first thought for a lot of guys is, here we go again. But you've really got to dig in. Big job for the senior players. And a big opportunity for the Wanderers on the other side of the coin.
Clare. Held up by Shaw. Turned back by Zimmerino. They've got to be careful here, Brisbane. They've played out well in the end. O'Shea. Van der Sar. Shaw for O'Shea. Tommy Waddingham isn't really on for that ball from O'Shea. Credit to the Wanderers, they put enough pressure on the Irish midfielder to force him into that decision. Burke Gilroy, whose free kick ultimately led to that opening goal. That's a lovely threaded ball through for Halloran by Van der Sar. Two weight in the middle. Oh, it's an own goal. And the Wanderers' lead lasted only 2 and a bit minutes. Gabriel Clare, in trying to put the ball behind for a corner, has squared the ledger for Brisbane. 1-1.
Well, the problems for the Wanderers started with the press from Kryev. He overcommitted himself, showed too much space. Van der Sar took it and then released on the Harvey Norman replay. A beautiful ball for Ben Halloran, who sizes up the situation, rolls the ball past the outstretched arm of Lawrence Thomas and into the path of the hapless Gabriel Clare. And the Wanderers' lead is very short-lived indeed.
Alan Stagic's face is an absolute picture. And it's sort of been the story, hasn't it, for both these teams this season. Struggled to keep clean sheets.
It's a poor goal to concede. So whilst the previous discussion point, Simon, was the Brisbane players needing to stick together to make sure the game doesn't, in the short term, get out of control for them.
Here's Waddingham. Brisbane tails are up at the moment.
The Wanderers players lost their heads. And things are back square. It's a really poor goal to concede.
Here's Clare going the other way, looking to atone. Harrington in the way. Brought down by Kryev. Walid Shaw got back in the nick of time. Well, the recipe is here tonight, Harps, for another goal fest. Remember back in 2016, that famous finals game that ended 5-4.
Unbelievable night, that one.
By the way, that remains the Wanderers' last finals win, which is incredible, isn't it, to think?
It's a recent history that doesn't reflect well on the potential of this club, and it's more than potential. We've seen it, so it's actually been there in full view.
By the way, Brisbane's is not much better. Their last win in the finals was against the Wanderers a year later on penalties, season 16-17. The shadow of Tony Popovic and Ange Postecoglou looms large over these two clubs. It's up to the current crop to make new history. Brillante shifts it out wide for Milanovic. Daniel Elder just waited a moment to see if any advantage would accrue, but certainly a foul by Zimmerina. Yeah, cutting quite across Nicholas Milanovic. A little bit slow to get to his feet. 49th game for the Wanderers in all competitions this evening for Nicholas Milanovic. 17 goals. Brillante's free kick. Harry van der Sarg to try and make ground down the right. I thought he might have had a foul there, but not to be. Shikluna. Bonnetig. Back through Clisby. Shikluna. Kleur. Angled that nicely towards Sapsford. And beyond him is Kryev. It wasn't a bad ball in the middle, and referee Daniel Elder is going to bring them back for a free kick, as there was a foul on Sapsford. Masked Grader down the right.
Well, he might need to wear shoulder pads after that one. From Ben Wallen. It was pretty crude.
Well, the Wanderers have had a succession of free kicks. They've scored from one of them. Josh Brillante has taken most of them. This might just suit the left-footed Clisby, though. Trying to find that corridor of uncertainty between defenders and goalkeepers. Brisbane deal with the first phase. Back with Shikluna. And Macklin Freak came a long way and made a good take.
Yeah, good claim. The initial free kick from Clisby had a bit of promise about it, but Brisbane's defence was strong. And as the second ball comes in, Macklin Freak's excellent. Great commitment, great concentration, very, very comfortable.
Freak's erstwhile roommate at Brisbane, Jordan Holmes, sat on the opposition bench today. Two great friends from their days together in the Sunshine State. There's Jordan Holmes, back up for Lawrence Thomas this evening. O'Shea might open up here for Zimmerino. He stung the palms of Thomas. Nothing more. Good opening that for Brisbane.
Nice opening. Great stuff from Joe O'Shea and Waddingham before that. And he took the space nicely, Zimmerino. Good contact on the ball. Very comfortable for Lawrence Thomas in the end.
Turn by Borrello. There's just a little push there.
A series of free kicks mounting up against Brisbane. It is certainly in the short term testing their resolve.
Yeah, it's tested Ruben Zankovic's patience. He's having quite a strong conversation with Declan Woods, the fourth official.
But again,
not that it's his fault.
No, I can't see this is not a free kick.
This one much closer in. Be surprised if Brandon Borrello has a dig from here. He's in the mood tonight. Yep, Borrello, the knuckleball, it's an absolute beauty. Swerve and dip, the perfect free kick. 2 for Borrello, and the Wanderers have their lead back.
Well, as far as early Christmas presents go, on the Harvey Norman replay for Wanderers fans, this surely fits the category. Look at that. It dipped and swerved, and Macklin Freak really utterly bamboozled by the googly. It's a stand and applaud. What else can you do? Brandon Borrello helps himself to a brace, the second of which was spectacular and quite memorable. Unreal stuff.
Well, Cristiano Ronaldo, eat your heart out. That was a great free kick. Although, I guess if you're Macklin Freak, you're disappointed because the ball's gone straight over your head.
Well, I mean, very clearly, this. You're right, Simon. He's not going to look at that happily, but it was just very, very difficult to deal with, and the succession of free kicks ultimately told. Too many chances given to the Wanderers from about that range. Although a bit wider, Brisbane had dealt with the deliveries into the box reasonably well until then, and there was nothing anyone could do about that. What a great goal.
That goal also means that Brisbane have now conceded multiple goals for the 7th game in a row at the start of this new season of the Isuzu UTE A-League Men's. Here's Warland. Time for Clure. Warland again, turned back by Shaw.
And now with the second opportunity, can the Wanderers do with this lead what they couldn't do with their first, and that is keep their heads defensively, keep compact, and keep Brisbane away.
Warland. Can Brisbane come from behind a second time? Zabala. Inside is Jay O'Shea. There's room on the right for Harry van der Sar. Looking for the give and go with Halloran. It's seen behind by Cryer.
Looked awfully nervous from Pochnar. Cryer, awfully nervous. The 1-2, van der Sar played with Halloran.
Jay O'Shea with the delivery. Warland lurking at the back post, as was Harrington. It went over both of them. Retrieved by Zabala. It's too high for Tommy Waddingham. Let's go down to Neve Owens, who's pitch side for us. Evening, Neve.
Hello, Shim. Great conditions down here. Certainly to be on the sideline anyway. It's still sitting around 25 degrees. And it's interesting, we spoke in the pre-game about Brandon Borrello being up and about for this one.
Yeah, just a foul there on Jack Clisby. Entered a handshake, but Ruben Zadkovic, not for the first time, is irritated by the fact that a decision has gone against his team. His first eye was directed to the fourth official, now the referee, and he's talked his way into the notebook. On you go, Nevo.
Yeah, he certainly has. He's been having a word all night long with Declan Woods, the fourth official who's here beside us, as has his assistant. And the referee had his say there as well. It's interesting, before kickoff, he was over, he said hello. Ruben Zadkovic gave us all a handshake here on the sideline. Looked very calm. That has changed since the game kicked off, that's for sure. But Brandon Borrello, as I was saying, really up and about for this one. I think he smells a big score on the cards. He's been given the young fella on debut, Lucas Harrington, a a really hard time keeping the pressure up on him and has had a bit of a running battle going with Wally Shaw as well.
Thanks, Nevo. Clisby. Oh, and another foul on Jack Clisby. That's 2 inside 60 seconds. This one probably... Oh, I'm going to give Ben Halloran the benefit of the doubt here and say that was accidental, but...
Well, let's see.
The replay might suggest other...
Well,
yeah, I don't think that's intentional, but it's a foul.
It certainly stopped a good attacking play or opportunity.
Well, he's slowly cooking in the technical zone, isn't he, Ruben?
Well, maybe his little outburst saved Ben Halloran from a yellow card then.
Up in the air by Ben Warland. The head of Klur, but not where he wanted it to go. Robust challenge from Milanovic.
That's fantastic work back from Milanovic. That will burst over 15 or 20 metres. And making the effort worthwhile with a strong tackle.
I'd say it was probably just about the right side of legal. It's just that little siding action that referees don't like. And it was almost there from Milanovic, but the right halves. It was legal. Bonneting. Clisby. Going first time to try and get away from the Brisbane defenders chopping at his ankles. Bit of room here for Klur. Milanovic outside and Klur goes himself. It was a good strike, good save by Freak. Kryev can't set himself. And as Borrello tried to, referee Elder will pull them back for an infringement by Kryev.
Well, that's a great hit from Gabriel Klur, although Milanovic is asking quite reasonably, how come he didn't pass the ball to me? I'm in on goal, but it's a great strike. Motivated, spurred on by the goal from Borrello. Gabriel Klur looking to correct the error he made with the own goal, to bang one into the net that he's supposed to score in. Kryev just not able to control the ball as it was beaten out to him by Macklin Freak.
That shot from Klur looked to move a little bit in the air as well. We've got the Jabulani ball again tonight.
Well, let's hope. We're going to get more strikes on goal like that.
Move on from Borrello for the second goal. Certainly swerved and dipped.
Well, maybe it is in the atmosphere here. I mean, I think earlier in the season when the Wanderers hosted Adelaide and Ethan Allegich pulled the trigger from about 30 metres early in the game.
Well, when there's cloud overhead, the ball moves in cricket, so maybe it's a little bit the same in football. Pantazopoulos. Klur. Sapsford will nip in ahead of his marker, but Brisbane sort that problem out. Marino, it's a bit of a cul-de-sac there. As did Milanovic, and it's a Brisbane throw. Such a good start to the season, hasn't he, Nicholas Milanovic? Really taking his game onto the next level this season.
You're at a big club, you're a starting player, you have to be one of the contributors to getting a big club back to the top of the table. They're not there yet. Clearly the Wanderers, but Milanovic has made his contributions and you'd like to think there's more to come.
The sort of confidence with which he plays the game can be infectious. I do remember a comment some years ago, I think it was Mark Bosnich, who said that he felt that the Wanderers jersey was a heavy one to wear because of the expectation. Milanovic doesn't seem to feel that. Sent forward by Pantazopoulos, but Van der Sar underneath it. Zabala looking for help. Came a bit quicker. Halloran breaks for Borrello. Milanovic. He's given the ball away just after I've given him the big rap. And threaded through for Tommy Waddingham, his sort of area. Oh, what a finish! Absolutely brilliant. He only needs half a chance. Just inside the penalty area, which is his territory. A true striker's goal, and we're back at 2-2.
Well, Milanovic too slow in possession, and Jay O'Shea threads the ball into just the right corridor. And then on the Harvey Norman replay, Tommy Waddingham adds another to the catalogue, takes it beautifully in stride, with then only one thing on his mind, and the angled shot is brilliant, and he is patching together some very impressive goals. Wanderers have let it slip again, and Waddingham there to take advantage.
Well, let's admire the quality of that strike. I mean, it's a chance, but it's not a clear-cut chance from the edge of the box from that angle. And he made it look so straightforward. His 11th goal in the competition, all 11 have come inside the penalty area. And a reminder that only Nestori Irukunda, with 16, has scored more goals in this league as a teenager. And Tommy Waddingham is still 19. No wonder they nickname him Erling.
Speaking of heavy shirts to wear, expectation. Well, Nick Milanovic was calling for a foul as he was dispossessed, but ref was right to wave play on. Got to be stronger. Dithered in possession. The men behind him couldn't patch up the gaps. And Waddingham strikes truly.
Here's Bert Gilroy. Brisbane drawing 4-4, of course, in their last away game in the city against MacArthur. The way things are going, we might be on for a repeat. Zabala given the hurry along by Borrello. Always willing to put in the hard yards, and he was throwing himself at that clearance from Macklin Freak. Turned back by Brillante. Pantazopoulos. Bonatic. Brillante out for Gabriel Cleur. Bonatic. Clisby. Lante, a little bit tight in there for Sapsford. Brisbane were looking to release Ben Halloran on the right. Fraction too narrow. Lante manages to thread the needle for Sapsford. He's going to have a go. Comfortably wide of the left-hand upright, but worth a try.
Well, just look at the ball move here again. Not moving in the right direction that from a Zach Sapsford viewpoint, but the players were very comfortable with the shoot from distance option.
Have a look at that for the XG. Dead level. fact that both teams' XG is below 1 and there's been 4 goals scored again underlines the degree of difficulty. That pass just a little bit short from Pantazopoulos. He's got away with it. Thomas didn't seem to be unduly concerned. Van der Sar. Harrington. Well, it's short. Well, I guess Harps, it's the sort of game so far that's going to make a coach tear his hair out. Not that Ruben Zakovic has got much left. But from the neutrals' point of view, it's been a good watch.
Well, most certainly. And if you look at the 4 goals conceded, I think Brisbane can say, well, what do you do in those circumstances? Now, the goalkeeping fraternity, I'm sure we'll be looking at the Borrello goal and thinking Macklin Freak should have done this, that, the other, and I'll defer to their greater experience, but the ball swirling around like that, it's only takes a millimetre or two and you're swiping at thin air. And the Borrello goal was a really difficult one to defend once the ball had come back into play off the back post challenge, and Borrello was just too strong.
That's a naughty one from Zimmerino. Studs started at the top of the ankle and carried on through to the foot of Dylan Chicluda. So he joins Anthony Burke-Gilroy in Daniel Elder's notebook, and his coach, of course. It's not stopped him talking to the officials though, Ruben. Kryev's touch, Chicluda threaded through for Clisby. 2 there at the back post, one of whom is Kleur, and routine gather in the end for Freak. Does get forward a lot, Gabriel Kleur. 3 assists already this season. Already forced one very good save out of Macklin Freak tonight.
Indeed, but rushed that one somewhat. He was in good space, at good time as well. The ball did come at a difficult height, but he might have been able to compose himself and help the attack on to a greater height.
Zabala. Zimmerino. Brisbane try a more conservative approach. Shaw. Now they can punch through the defensive line. Zimmerino went for the early delivery and Waddingham wasn't really set in position. Kleur. Pantazopoulos across the penalty area for Bonnetig. Clisby. Milanovic. Patient from the Wanderers, looking to move Brisbane around, trying to probe and find the weak spot. Kryev. Chicluda. There's a bit of space, momentarily anyway, for Milanovic. Bonnetig. That's a bit of room for Milanovic, quickly shut down by Zimmerino. They worked that opening nicely, the Wanderers. On the overlap is Brillante. Sapsford, straight at freak.
A good play from the Wanderers, very patient. Bonatig looked to release. Milanovic in the first instance didn't come to anything, and then they reset on the right-hand side. Great overlap, lovely run and ball from Brillante, and Zach Sapsford, as we've come to expect, really attacked that ball brilliantly and might have guided that header with a little bit more purpose, as it was straight to Macklin Freak.
Let's quickly go back down to Nevo. And Nevo, you got some more news on Ruben Zakovic's ongoing conversations with officialdom.
We're perched in right next to the Brisbane Roar dugout, Simon, and Ruben actually came over for a word with us a moment ago. He left Declan Woods, the fourth official, alone for a mo and came for a chat with us instead. Not happy with the way the calls have been going through this first half, really questioning the fairness of the officiating. He's not a happy man here on the sideline, and I guess feels that home crowd advantage perhaps playing in the Wanderers' favour in the first 45. But Simon, who'd be a coach? Who'd be a ref?
Exactly. Clisby's delivery meantime. Nodded away by Burke Gilroy. And it's going to be a Wanderers throw. Yeah, they had the heart monitors on the coaches a few years ago. I think they still probably do that. Certainly not good for the blood pressure. It's probably why you never fancied it, Harps. Well, you were an assistant for a while, weren't you?
I dabbled.
Borrello finding Clerc. Nobody in the middle for the Western Sydney Wanderers. It's a job, of course, Harps, that is compounded by the fact that there are only 13 jobs in the country, less if you exclude the teams in New Zealand. If you're on the outer, you can be well and truly on the outer.
It's a tough gig. Everyone has a view on what you're doing or not doing. Some of those views are more qualified than others, but it doesn't stop them coming, avalanches of them from time to time.
Halloran skips clear of Shikluna. Just slightly behind Waddingham. Clisby. Shikluna. Brisbane retreat. Back into their own defensive third. That's a poor ball by Dylan Shikluna. Just seemingly a little lull in the action. Even the RBB have taken a seat behind the goal. But it's been pretty good entertainment as we tick over into the last minute of the opening 45 of regulation. Clisby. Brillante. Found Borrello, but he in turn was robbed on the blind side by Jay O'Shea, and Zimmerino's skipped clear of the first defender, showing good pace down the left. Not the cross to match it. Good little break that for the Roar.
Really good, and half an opportunity before the ref calls a halt to things for the Wanderers now to attack with some space. Brisbane players have committed themselves forward. Not a huge appetite from the Wanderers midfield to get up into the attacking half and see if they can make the most of that numerical advantage.
Into the first of 3 additional minutes at the end of the first half. Borrello has been central to the drama with both Wanderers' goals. Here's Milanovic looking to fire one in. Well defended by young Lucas Harrington. Swung wide by Brillante for Kleur. He's looking for that little gap between the two defenders for the run of Josh Brillante. Didn't quite work out for the Wanderers. Good use of the body from Pantazopoulos. Oh, and then a miscommunication. Brandon Borrello. Well, that's the easiest yellow card Daniel Elder will probably issue in his career.
Well,
that was a clear rugby tackle. He had a couple of bites at it as well.
He was, and Parramatta Eels finished last year, so he thought if I don't make it as a Wanderer, I might get a job as an Eel.
I called it Borrello. It's actually Kryev. My apologies to Brandon Borrello.
Although he is from Bulgaria, so someone might need to explain what rugby league is, but he showed the instinct at least. And the breakdown in communication between he and Shikluna created the opening. The referee Daniel Elder with no choice but to give the yellow card there.
Well, of all the cards shown, I don't think you can accuse Daniel Elder of getting one wrong.
No, and interesting to hear Neve relay to us how disappointed Ruben has been with the officiating. I have to say I haven't seen any inconsistencies at all. But then again, I'm not the coach of a team who hasn't won yet this season, so you're looking to eke any advantage you can, of course.
We all watch a game with one eye when our own team's involved. Milanovic. Maybe one more attack before the half-time whistle blows. Wide by Bonatic for Clisby. And back again. Shikluna. Milanovic. Time here for Kleur to measure across. Back post was Clisby. Kryev will keep it in play. Milanovic. A drop of the shoulder, but the cross is overhit by quite some margin. And that is half-time, and that was quite some first half. Western Sydney Wanderers twice in the lead. 2 goals from Brandon Borrello. The first a header from close range, the second a brilliant free kick. But twice equalised for Brisbane. First by Gabriel Kleur, who put through his own goal. And then by an exquisite finish at the top of the box by Tommy Waddingham to his 4th of the season. Lots more to come in this one, you fancy. At half-time, though, it's all square. Western Sydney Wanderers 2, Brisbane Roar 2. And we're off for a break ourselves. Join us for a look at the first half action on the other side of it. Don't go away.
This year's Alex Tobin Medal is brought to you by Isuzu UTE. The winner of the prestigious award will win their choice of a brand new top-of-the-range Isuzu D-Max or 7-seat MUX. Plus, the Isuzu UTE Alex Tobin medalist will nominate a junior football club to win $10,000. Make sure you're watching this season's grand final when the winning player and club will be revealed.
It is 2-2 at halftime at Wonderland. Plenty for the crowd to enjoy in the first half. A couple of cracking goals, a couple of yellow cards, including one for Ruben Zadkovic in the coach's dugout as well. I'm Neve Owens alongside Andy Harper. Harps, I feel like the Wanderers heading into that break will really rue a couple of mistakes in the middle of the park.
They did so well to get the lead once, then twice, and they let it slip both times, and both so avoidable.
You admire the mantra for most teams, when we turn the ball over, the first couple of seconds is how you react. So full credit to Kraev for his energy. Massive F on the report card for Kraev for overcommitting himself. He's a Bulgarian international, Neve. He should know better. Running in like a headless chook at that point, and Harry van der Sark saw it, stepped inside him, and then the dominoes fell the way of Brisbane with the ultimate ignominy of the own goal from Kleur. Here, Milanovic on top of his game at the moment, but was too lax in possession, not strong enough, and then again the dominoes fall. In both occasions, firstly the rush of blood from Kraev, secondly the casual nature of Milanovic at that singular moment is symptomatic of a team that just doesn't have the tensile strength at the moment, and that's what the Wanderers have to get, or Brisbane are going to pants them here at their home ground.
Brisbane are well up for this battle on behalf of their coach Ruben Zagovic. Brandon Borrello, though, with a brace in the first half, and I wouldn't be at all surprised if we see him score a couple more. The second half here at CommBank Stadium is coming up in just a moment's time.
Well, the Western Sydney Wanderers fans who turned up early have certainly had their money's worth this evening. Their women's team beating Western United 5-1 earlier today. And it's all square here at the break. 2-2 between the Wanderers and Brisbane, for whom Tommy Waddingham has scored a quite fantastic goal from the edge of the box. And they've shown great spirit to fight back twice. The team who've been bottom of the league for the last 5 weeks now. The Wanderers fans hoping their team can get the job done in the second half. Big chance for the red and black and Alan Stagic's team to move into the top 6 for the first time this season, and 2 of their next 3 to come at home as well over the Christmas period. Brisbane looking to move off the bottom, so a lot at stake over the next 45 minutes. No changes made by either coach at the break. And a blast on Daniel Elder's whistle gets us back underway with the Wanderers in the red and black hoops, of course, kicking from left to right on your screen in this second half. Brandon Borrello has certainly enjoyed his evening against his former employers. One close range goal, one terrific free kick. Dipped and swerved its way past Macklin Freak. They've got to go and do it all again, the Wanderers. Same old story for them defensively. Here's Jack Clisby. Squared by Bonatic for Pantazopoulos and back again. Reminder that the Wanderers were unchanged at the start of today's game. That's still the case. No substitutions made by Alan Stajic. Jong Tae Wook and Aidan Simmons, the long-term absentees through injury. Brisbane making a whole host of changes, 5 in all. Key absentees today: Scott Neville, Keegan Jelicic and Rafael Struijk, who's away playing at the ASEAN Cup with Indonesia. Florent Berenguer and Jack Hingert also benched. Ben Halloran recalled a first raw start for Adam Zimmerino and a first A-League outing for young Lucas Harrington, who's got the responsibility of just guiding the ball back to Macklin Freak here. "17 years of age. One of many fine young prospects making their way in the Isuzu UTE A-League men's competition this season. Shikluna. Turned back by Brillante and further by Pantazopoulos. Sent wide nicely by Shikluna for Clisby. Cryer went for the first time, ball for Borrello, broken up by Brisbane. Zabala looking for an option, and there wasn't really one forthcoming for the Raw. No changes by Ruben Zakovic either at the break. He does have a very interesting bench tonight, Ruben Zakovic. Not just Berenguer and Hingert providing the experience, but also Acosta and ability, and young Jacob Brissett, who was good off the bench second half against Melbourne City last week. Clear's ball to the top of the box, touched by Borrello. Sapsford. Oh, and Harrington didn't deal with it. Maybe got a shout from his goalkeeper. And eventually Zabala thumps it into the fans on the far side.
Well, that could have got sticky pretty quickly. I suspect Harrington, out of the corner of his eye, saw his keeper come. But then the keeper stopped. And it was almost embarrassing for Brisbane.
Borrello holding off short. Milanovic. There's a bit of room out on the left for Clisby. Van der Saga cross. Clisby gets the cross in. Clear at the back post. And there's a foul by Clear. And an injury to Anthony Burke-Gilroy, who copped the worst of it to the back of the head.
Can deliver the ball nicely, Jack Clisby. That one just had a bit too much elevation.
A bit too much elbow as well.
And a lot of heavy contact. Clear onto Burke-Gilroy.
Almost looked like whiplash that for Anthony Burke-Gilroy, who's certainly done a shift for Brisbane tonight. Those 6 clearances. Meantime, there's activity on the Brisbane Raw bench. Youngster Quinn McNichol also among the potential replacements. Yeah, that was heavy contact on Burke-Gilroy. It looks to be okay. No Corey Brown as a left-back option on the bench tonight for Ruben Zakovic. He is similar to Scott Neville, been left-back in Brisbane to help him recover from a long-term problem. He just got a quick shot there of that exciting youngster Jacob Brissett. May well be that Ruben Zakovic is going to throw on a couple of teenagers to try and wrestle the points for the Raw. Kept in play by Zimmerino. O'Shea. Van der Sar on the move. Through Harrington, and now the goalkeeper, Macklin Freak. Warland. O'Shea got a little piece of it, and then Warland all over the back of Sapsford. have been an interesting half-time team talk by Alan Stadgett, because there were some really good things by the Wanderers, but equally the same old issues.
Well, very frail defending on the 2 goals conceded, and Brisbane offered a bit in that first half too in defence of them, but they look very stilted at the moment, the Raw. Very static Brisbane, doing all the defending to open this second half.
Milanovic going to go here, and it wasn't too far away. Just grazed the side netting.
Yeah, jinking inside nicely. Owes his team one, really. And he's certainly capable after coughing up possession for the second goal for Brisbane tonight. He's a fine player, he's having a great season. There's a lot of growth still for us to enjoy as he makes his way through professional football, but he coughed up possession for that second goal, and I'm sure he'll be very, very keen to set that record straight.
Says he wants to make the Socceroos this season. Is he within the conversation, do you think, or is it too early yet?
No, not at all.
It's a good stretch by Borrello to keep this potential attack brewing for the Wanderers. It's controlled by Kleur. Shikluna. Milanovic. Kleur. Shikluna. Bonetig. Rather intricate in there, it just won't break the way of a red and black jersey. Back out with Kleur. Bonetig. Relante. Milanovic just looking to steer it past Waddingham, but he was having none of that. Zimmerino for Brisbane. Yeah, they're a bit penned in at the moment, Brisbane. Bonetig. Gabriel Kleur calling for the ball, wide rights. That's the way it goes. It's a poor first touch, though, from Kleur.
Well, he tried to take it past Burke Gilroy with that first touch. I guess you've got to applaud the aggressive mindset to do that, and the technique to back up the decision on that occasion.
Red and black block still in good spirits. By Kriev, but favoured Shaw. It's in play by Clisby. Now Zabala. Touched by Waddingham. This is good football from Brisbane. And retrieved by O'Shea. Cross wasn't a bad one. Just a fraction too high for Zimmerino. It's Brisbane's best action so far in the second half, in the Wanderers' half of the pitch. Well, credit to Jay O'Shea for his determination. Look at those possession stats in the second half and the final third entries. Heavily in favour of the Wanderers. Just that one effort from Milanovic, which went just wide to show for it. Here is Nicholas Milanovic. Kleur not able to get away from Bert Gilroy. Wanderers throw. And there's movement on the Wanderers bench, first of all. A couple of changes coming. Marcus Antonsson, who's scored twice off the bench in his last 2 games. He's going to replace Zach Sapsford, and Aidan Hammond will come on in place of Bozidar Kraev. Make of those changes, Andy?
Yeah, well, they need to find a final pass in there. Saxford's worked hard, hasn't had a lot of opportunity. Kraev's been quite busy, although had his fingerprints defensively on Brisbane's first goal. At Brisbane,
Close cross, sorry Andy.
That's all right. Brisbane seemingly content just to sit back in a very, very deep block and see if the Wanderers are going to be any good at breaking them down.
Here's Nicholas Milanovic.
And then look, I guess, on the counter to see if they can hurt the hosts. And Antonson's a classy player. And a good option, therefore, for the Wanderers.
Here's that previous effort from Nicholas Milanovic. It was moving a bit, but Ben Warland well positioned. And then a little push on O'Shea by Shakluna. Brisbane, we're told, are preparing their first change. Young Jacob Brissett is going to come on shortly. Borrello works it wide. There was a foul by Short, but good advantage played by Daniel Elder. Here's Milanovic. Now he will blow the whistle. And a free kick in a very promising position here for Western Sydney Wanderers.
Oh, well, it's Shaw committing 2 fouls and the one attack and getting away without the yellow card. I think that's a bit fortunate for him.
Yeah, Alan Stajic is asking the question of Declan Woods, the 4th official.
Well, the advantage was fair enough. And then as Milanovic is through on goal looking to shoot, I'll let the effects might make the point.
He's going to need a Panadol, isn't he, Declan Woods, at the end of tonight?
At least there's balance in the pain, but both ears are copping it.
Brandon Borrello scored an absolute belter in the first half, so Macklin Freak has been warned. He's trying to set that wall as perfectly as he possibly can. Milanovic is there as well, just to keep him guessing. It is going to be Milanovic, and he blazes it wide.
Well, the other question, the other discussion that lingers, Simon, if Brisbane do continue to play deep and the Wanderers continue to struggle in their efforts to break down Brisbane, how long before you send on a Juan Mata to provide that pass to break the Brisbane formation?
It's a fair point. At the moment, the only activity on the benches is that of Jacob Brissett, who is ready to go. Back in his home city, of course, where he started life with Sydney FC before joining Brisbane on a 2-year scholarship deal in the off-season. He's going to replace Adam Zimmerito. And I was impressed by this young lad last week against Melbourne City. In a well-beaten team, I thought he did well. He offered them a little bit of spark second half.
There's plenty of good kids coming through. And he's made a good start to a national audience.
No further addition to the score sheet as yet in the second half. Clerk. Hammond. Well, and Shaw got the block in and just got a little whack to the face there on the way through from Hammond. Yeah, just that trailing arm of Aidan Hammond.
It's not heavy contact. The ref is right to check. He's been good. Good acquisition, Waleed Shaw, I think. He's very happy to roll his sleeves up and get some work done in midfield for his team.
And from a part of the world where we don't see a lot of players come and play in the A-League. Lebanese international. He was actually contacted by Ruben Zakovic after he played for Lebanon against Australia in those World Cup qualifiers. O'Shea. Worked wide by Halloran. Brissett. Can have a run at Borrello. Back by Halloran, who was then upended. And it's going to be a free kick for Brisbane.
Again, the little break forward for Brisbane. There haven't been many of them in the second half, but the ball falls to Brissett. And a little flurry from him sets the Wanderers' nerves. And Borrello reaching in to commit the foul in what, given the way this half has gone so far, presents a good opportunity for Brisbane. Fully expect Jay O'Shea to be the mastermind of this. He can drop the ball on a spot. The questions are, on which spot does he seek to drop the ball, and who in a Brisbane shirt is going to be responding appropriately?
Well, he's got one assist already tonight. Teed up Tommy Waddingham for the second equaliser. See if he can play provider once again. Harrington and Warland looking to make their move. And Thomas with a comfortable take in the end. I guess the only surprise, Harps, given the way the game's gone, is that we haven't had more goals so far in this game.
Yeah, really tightened up this second half. Brisbane have dropped right off. The Wanderers are the ones with all the shots. Certainly in this half, but to the close of the first half. And I guess to find the last 5 shot stats and needing to go into the first half to do it, it shows how quiet by comparison this second half has been. It's a nervous, it seems to me, Western Sydney Wanderers against a cautious Brisbane Roar. Which of the two is going to blink first? Who can find the opening? Can the Wanderers force an opening? Can they keep their own back door closed in the meantime?
It's a nice little burst from Chicluna. Could open things up here for Aidan Hammond. Good tackle from Harrington. A little fist bump as well on the back of it to say, yeah, that's my job. Shaw. O'Shea. Van der Sar. More substitutes arriving next break in play, including, I can tell you, Juan Mata for Western Sydney Wanderers. I fancy we're going to see at the other end of the age spectrum Quinn McNichol as well for Brisbane Roar. So a 36-year-old for the Wanderers and a 16-year-old for Brisbane. Brissett. Zabala. O'Shea. Van der Sar. O'Shea again. Cross beyond Waddingham. And it'll find Brissett. He looks to get around. Gabriel Clerc has to settle for a corner, but he's offered that little bit of spark for them.
Again, very positive play, very positive mindset. Wins the corner. Brisbane starting to eke out some territory in their favour. Setting up Gabriel Clerc here. Nice poise, good balance.
2 corners in the game, and both have gone to the raw. Jay O'Shea to deliver this one. Harrington jostling for position at the back post. It's gone beyond him. Out by Clure. Really touched by Zabala, but he's kept it in play, and it's going to be a raw throw. Juan Mata waiting patiently on the sidelines for the Wanderers to get the ball upfield before he can take to the pitch. Free to go long. Waddingham, though, is coming back from an offside position. Into the final quarter of the game in Parramatta. Drop in Walid is the message to Walid Shaw. He does just that. And his calmness personified in the face of that raw aggression from Brandon Borrello. Gets Brisbane moving forward. O'Shea. Zabala. Halloran. Through Van der Sar. Just wonder whether Harry Van der Sar just reached down to his hamstring momentarily. Yeah, he's reached back again to that left hamstring, and now he's taken a seat on the turf here at Combank. Home fans have not taken kindly to it. I'm not sure you have either, Andy Harper.
No, look, this is increasingly creeping into the game, and you know, players who are off the field, who manage to get themselves onto the field for treatment to stop the game, players going down with cramp and then expecting everyone to stop. It's out of control as far as I'm concerned. Anyway, we get a chance to watch Juan Mata. It's an opportunity after this break, small break in play, for the Wanderers to make that change. Let's see if he can find the pass or two that the home team desperately needs.
Are you a little surprised that Nicholas Milanovic is the one to be taken off, Andy?
Well, yeah, he's a game breaker, but I think my interpretation is that Juan Mata doesn't want to sacrifice running power in midfield to have Juan Mata do his thing.
Well, there he is, the Wanderers' marquee man. He's played only 191 minutes since joining the Red and Black. Just 2 starts, the last of which was against Adelaide United in round 3. But you don't need me to remind you of his quality.
And so to Milanovic, then it's the process of elimination. If you're going to take off an attacker, Sapsford's already gone. Is it Milanovic or Borrello?
Or are you really brave and take off a midfielder? Which, after all, is where Mata plays.
Yeah.
Anyway, they are decisions for Alan Stajic to make, not us.
Well,
thanks for good conversation.
Of course, and you need more of it. His team has to find a way to win.
Harry Van der Sar is back with us.
So that's a long stoppage in the game for a player who, it's just crazy.
Yep, I'm with you, Harps. Shakluna wrestled to the floor by Zabala. And I guess stopping the game is at the referee's discretion if it is just cramp, unless he suspects that a more serious injury has occurred.
But what's more serious? I mean, a head injury, yeah, stop it for sure. But, mate, a tweak to your upper hamstring or your glute is hardly life-threatening. I mean, enough already, please.
I've been reminded that happened earlier on today as well in the Wellington-Macarthur game with Jake Coleman.
It was my reference point exactly. He was 8 yards off the field for a defensive corner, pulled up lame and managed to get himself on the field to stop the game. And the match officials allow it. Well, I don't think they should.
It's a poor clearance by Freak. Straight at Brillante. Couldn't do much with it. Wanderers just haven't been able to really recreate some of the flow that they had in the first half. And that's to Brisbane's credit as well. Team bottom of the league with just 1 point. Here's Borrello. That's a good switch. Clisby will reel that one in. 3 weight in the middle. Borrello always leaning backwards. Here's Juan Mata. Now can he find the right delivery? Angle ball for Kleur, who will try and pick his way through the Brisbane defence. It's going to be a corner. Meantime, Brisbane have a player down again with cramp. This time, Walid Shaw. He's been told he's got to go to the sideline if he wants treatment. Well, there we go. That's how to deal with it, perhaps. And Shaw is quickly back to his feet. Mata's corner. I think it flicked off the head of Warland. Borrello. Turn ball from Hammond wasn't quite accurate enough, but it'll be a throw.
But in that moment, the 1-2 was on and Hammond just tightened up, and it's the Wanderers have got to loosen up. They're almost, Simon, if I could make this point, it's going to sound bizarre, they're almost scared to score because by definition that means Brisbane are going to get another one because they cannot hold their lead. So maybe the cunning plan, Baldrick style, is to just hang on as long as you can, score your third goal with no more time for Brisbane to equalise.
Now Brisbane want to make a double change, but got Walid Shaw down again. And again, this eats into the game time, which is frustrating for supporters.
Well, and then the Brisbane medical staff are taking 3 hours to get out there. I mean, this whole thing needs a shake-up.
Let's go down to Nevo, and Sue might have a bit more info on this. Nevo.
Always a good chance, isn't it, when a player goes down middle of the second half, this kind of window for the coach to have a good word with his players. And we've seen both times there, Ruben Zadkovic. First time he's got the whiteboard out, he had half the team over and was doing a quick little whiteboard session with the boys. Once again, then a good opportunity to make a couple of subs. So, as you say, it is really slowing down this second half of play here at CommBank.
Yeah, and all sorts of confusion, Neve, about who's going to come off. Jack Hingert and Quinn McNichol are ready to come on. They're going to have to change some of the numbers. Initially, it was going to be Ben Halloran and Harry van der Sarg. Van der Sarg was the first player, of course, to go down with cramp. Walid Shaw has wandered off. So for the moment, Brisbane have got 10. And all very frustrating for supporters. Can the Wanderers capitalise on the extra man? Clisby's low delivery. Harrington sees it out for a corner.
Not quite the clearance he was looking for, but he was strong in that first post-defensive position. Cleared that with conviction, just got it slightly wrong off the angle. Corner to defend.
And here are those changes for Brisbane. So Jack Hingert to replace Harry van der Sarg, and Quinn McNichol on for the stricken Walid Shaw. His first A-League action this season, the 16-year-old. Jack Hingert, of course, the veteran, 34. So reinforcements call for, whilst the Raw defender corner. Not often you see a coach do that, but he probably felt as though he had no choice there, Ruben Zakovic, with van der Sarg and Shaw cramping up. Here's the corner, and Harrington was really strong in the air. Back out for Shikluna. Macklin Freak has to come and gather that one, and does so cleanly.
It's a poor ball from Shikluna. Lobbed and straight of path into the heart of the penalty area. Which goalkeeper's not going to come and get that? So you're playing for an error off the goalkeeper again. Look, the Wanderers have lost all their creative juice in the second half.
Jack Hingert quickly into the action. O'Shea. Nice little layup by Tommy Waddingham. That's a good challenge by Harrington.
Doing well, isn't it? Excellent defensive header, that last corner. You called it, Simon. It was a thumping defensive header. He's done very well on debut.
This is, as it stands at the moment, if it remains this way, then Brisbane would move off the foot of the ladder. Wanderers would stay where they are in 10th. That could all change over the next 10 minutes or so. Here's Brissett. Clean away from Pantazopoulos. That's going to be a card. Now on Stajic out to the edge of the technical zone to protest. You can tell that there's a fair bit at stake.
It's getting tense, isn't it? Clear yellow card.
He probably felt that was sort of taking one for the team, because Brissett would have been away down the left-hand side. O'Shea's free kick. Waddingham, good strength, fires it across the face, and it's beyond Quinn McNichol at the back post.
Well, he finished with excellence in the first half. He turned then with similar excellence. Look at this from the young striker. That is beautiful. And then he lost his quality. Couldn't find Quinn McNichol.
Harrington beating Antonsen in the air.
They barely had a touch, really, Brisbane, but the longer this goes on, the more pungent the smell of snatch and grab for Brisbane.
Is this going to be another game that gets away from the Wanderers? Struggled so much for consistency in recent years. Found it to a certain extent a couple of years back under Marco Redan when they made the finals. Another player has gone down with cramp for Brisbane. This time Ben Halloran. He's looking very proppy. Bonatic. Borrello. Thought about the shots. Sent it wide for Brillante. Shikluna. And again, they have to turn back out. One shot from Milanovic that went into the side netting aside. Difficult to remember either goalkeeper being really worried. It's a good stretch by Harrington. And out for a throw off Bert Gilroy. Ben Halloran's going to need some attention here. The third stoppage, and now Lucas Harrington is stretching out as well. There's one or two Brisbane players who are
Really
suffering.
interesting. I mean, this is a sidebar, Simon, but it's a little humid here tonight, but certainly not Brisbane-type humidity. Yet it's the Raw players who are going down like ninepins.
And Halloran given a helping hand to his feet by Juan Mata. Looks like it's going to have to be another change for Brisbane. Florent Berenguer is ready to go.
Well, it's not a designated drinks break. If the Brisbane players en masse go to get a refill, that's their call. The ref should just get this going. What's he waiting for?
So once again, Brisbane are down to 10 just for the moment. Good stretch by Clerc. Maybe a bit of an overstretch because he's caught Waddingham. Free kick, and it's going to be a card as well for Gabriel Clerc. First glance I thought he'd won the ball, but maybe he did overstretch. This will tell us. Well,
It's the second action.
Yeah, it's the second action, the kick on Tommy Waddingham. He thinks that's a little unjust. It puts him on 4 yellow cards, by the way, for the season as well. Just one away from a one-match ban.
Well, what's going on here in the second half, Simon, and I'd be very interested in your view, is that this now sits and falls in the lap of the league's regulators. They cannot sit back and allow this constant non-play to be presented to the Australian public.
Yeah. Well, John Moss is here tonight, the head of referees. And it's all made it a rather stop-start second half. It's not been nearly as good a watch as the first as a result. Antonsen, Clisby. Time starting to run a little short for either team to find a winner. Clerc. Kantazopoulos. Shikluna. Relante. Brisbane working hard, trying to keep their shape. Mata. Shikluna being given the hurry along by Quinn McNichol. Kantazopoulos stepping into a more offensive position. Bonneting. Mata. Now they've worked the angle for the cross. Clisby delivers, and it was a really good one. A good punch by Freak, brought down by Mata. And Shikluna really gave it a thump. And Brisbane survive. Finally, the home fans will think some pressure on the opponent's goal. They'll go again. Borrello, that one's blocked by Ben Warland. And another player sits on the deck for Brisbane. Now going to make a double change. Tommy Waddingham's night is up. His goal was an absolute beauty in the first half. And Ben Halloran, who's also been struggling with cramp, sees his number called. And the two new introductions, Florent Berenguer and Nasser Acosta.
And it's Louis Zabala now.
It is Louis Zabala. There is John Moss, the head of referees for Football Australia. He'll be taking all this in and no doubt making a few mental notes. And I think they're going to have to change that substitution. One of either Halloran or Waddingham is going to have to stay on because Louis Zabala is done. And that's twice they've had to change.
Well, it's pretty chaotic in the Brisbane dugout.
It's not easy in the commentary box.
Never mind the fourth. He's gone through 5 biros with all the changes to the paperwork.
And that's before you consider the earache. So Louis Zabala is replaced by Florent Berenguer, and Tommy Waddingham stays with us, even though he wasn't meant to. Well, the Wanderers fans are not happy. They feel all this is time wasting. And they want Jack Hinger to get on with the throw as well.
I think we cut up that clip of that Wanderers fan and asked the authorities to explain why.
Give us our money's worth.
Because I think he's speaking on behalf of a lot of people.
Yeah. And really, it's up to the referees not to put up with it. It's within their power. You can sort of understand in some ways Brisbane, bottom of the league, only 1 point this season. They've tried to slow the game down a bit. And, you know, some of those, if not all of those cramp injuries may be genuine, but you can't have big chunks of the game.
Of course. And it's not for a second to suggest that the Brisbane individuals and the Brisbane team haven't been struggling physically.
There could be a chance here for Jay O'Shea. Really sit for him properly. Let's have a look at the Paramount Plus player index tonight. Brandon Borrello, as ever, has put in a great shift. Covered every blade of grass. Ditto Jay O'Shea for Brisbane. Is there going to be a late winner for one of these two teams? Antizopoulos angles it nicely for Hammond. Just a heavy touch at the crucial moment allowed Hingert to intervene. Now deep inside the last minute of the 90. There should be a fair chunk of injury time to be added on for all those stoppages. That'll be instructive to see how many minutes there are. What's your minimum that you're happy with here, Hearts? 8. Okay, let's see if you're right. The word is 7, apparently.
Well, it's a period of inflation, so.
Here's McNichol. Could Brisbane steal it? Brisbane wanting a corner, and Daniel Elder had a bit of a think about it before deciding that the verdict was goal kick.
There it is, official 7. I think that's skinny. I mean, you're not going to convince me. In a normal course of events, you get to 90 minutes, and if there's been no stoppages, it's, you know, you get a 3 minutes, a token 3 minutes. And you're going to tell me, on top of that token 3 minutes, there hasn't been more than 4 minutes of stoppage for players getting cramp treated?
And the substitutions as well.
Very skinny.
That's clever from Hammond. Good stretch by Harrington. He's had a good debut. You'll see why Ruben Zakovic rates him so highly. No way through for Waddingham. You can sense the tension around Combank Stadium. This is such a big opportunity for the Wanderers tonight. Are they going to stumble again? It's been the story, not just of this season for them, but of many seasons since Tony Popovic left. One of inconsistency. Borrello with a rather frustrated push out at Brissett. Wanderers welcome Wellington next to Combank before a trip to Adelaide, and then Macarthur on New Year's Day. come calling. Brisbane have a bottom of the table clash against Perth next. And could they steal all 3 points here? Worked wide for Nasser Acosta. No problems for Thomas. I'm sure Ruben Zankovic would see this as a good point on the road.
No question. They batten down the hatches in the second half. The Wanderers have barely laid a glove on them, really. All the while keeping alive the opportunity for a breakaway goal against the run of play.
A couple of late changes, very late changes for the Wanderers are imminent. Oscar Priestman and the Wanderers debut for James Temelkovski when the ball next goes dead, if it does, before stoppage time elapses. One matter in the left back position, and they've lost out here, the Wanderers. Waddingham could make them pay, pushed away by Thomas Brissett, and that was oh so close to a Brisbane Roar winner.
How good from Brisbane, and even better from Lawrence Thomas. Now there's some field into which the Wanderers can presume to attack.
Brandon Borrello still full of running. Didn't get the bounce of the ball. Almost 4 minutes of the 7 to be added have elapsed. Mata wanted the ball back there from Borrello and was frustrated he didn't get it. Brillante threads the needle nicely. Gabriel Clerc. Near post is Antonsen. They're queuing up here. Mata was there. The ball was bouncing around like a game of ping pong there for a moment or two. Brisbane survive.
Well, that was as close as the Wanderers have come. It was a good chance. Here's at the other end. Excellent. Like a hawk is watching it. Lawrence Thomas. And then at the other end, great composure. Firstly from Antonsen, and then a wonderful defensive effort to see that one away.
Final 2 changes for the Wanderers. Oscar Priestman, James Temelkovski on for Dylan Shikluna and Brandon Borrello. It's an A-League debut for James Temelkovski, the 26-year-old who scored 18 goals in 23 for Marconi in the NPL last season. Oh, well, that ball could have been left. And to be fair, I think Macklin Freak was screaming at Jack Hingett, just leave it, just leave it. And he either didn't hear him or felt that there was danger. And he's put his team under the pump here with about 90 seconds to go.
Oh, Jack might have got cramp in his ears then.
The outswinging corner. There's a collision of bodies and hopeful appeals from the stands for a penalty. And another Brisbane player is down. Well, this will go down as a very hard-earned point. It's Ben Warland who got, I think a stray boot to the face, maybe even friendly fire from a teammate. Or squashed, one of the two.
Yeah, I think it was Florent Berenguer, into whose back Ben Warland crashed.
Brisbane are nearly there for a very hard-earned point. Gabriel Clerc. The last knockings for the Wanderers. It's going to be a goal kick. And Brisbane will be in no hurry to take it. Macklin Freak has now taken a seat. Well, this has just been one long procession. And Daniel Elder rightly is not falling for it. He's saying, get up, Macklin. Let's get on with it. difficult for referees, but they've got to take a stand on this.
It's taken a while.
And Brisbane Roar's excellent record at Combank Stadium set to continue. Just one defeat in their last 7 visits. That came back in 2021. And they are second away from a point here. And even this goal kick has taken an awfully long time. The Wanderers fans letting Macklin Freak know all about it. Daniel Alders holding the watch up and saying, I'm not pressing start until you get on with it. Is there time for Western Sydney? We're about to tick over into the 9th minute of added time. That's nicely done by Telmakovsky. Oh, Macklin Freak needed 2 bites at it. And now he's down again after colliding with Priestman. Well, he might have got a little whack there, but there's no doubt that Brisbane are making the most of this. Yeah.
Well, too inflammatory to say, Houston, we got a problem.
Yep. Never again should we complain about visiting teams to Australia. Wasting time and running down the clock. It happens everywhere, even here. Well, a rather unsatisfactory second half after a really good watch in the first 45. The boos ring out around Combank Stadium. Ruben Dakovic won't care about that. It's a hard-earned point, just a 2nd point of the season for Brisbane, despite Brandon Borrello's brace. The Roar twice came from behind. Baby steps for Ruben Dakovic's team, but it will feel like a big missed opportunity for Alan Stadgic and the Wanderers, who were looking to build on that win against Melbourne City. Roar now 9 matches unbeaten against the Wanderers in all competitions. They certainly stretched the letter of the law with some of the time-wasting antics in the second half, but they defended well enough besides that and really limited the Wanderers to second half opportunities. So that's the way it finishes at Combank. The points are shared. Western Sydney Wanderers 2, Brisbane Roar 2.